Okay, so you guys know I love diving deep into all this EV stuff.
Yeah.
And you sent me this YouTube video,
Uh-huh.
and it's called The True Reasons
Right.
EV Owners Are Looking to Return to Gasoline Cars.
Interesting title.
And it's by this guy, Charge Drive.
Catchy.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think this will be a good one.
Because it claims that there's this whole shift happening
Okay.
with EV owners like ditching their electric dreams and going back to gasoline cars.
All right.
I mean, it's not like some big scientific study or anything.
Sure.
But sometimes those less formal sources,
Yeah.
they bring up some really
Great.
interesting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So
Yeah.
let's just jump right in.
Let's do it.
What really caught my eye was how the video starts off.
Okay.
It mentions this study
Right?
that says that like almost half
Wow.
of U.S. EV owners are like thinking about switching back to gasoline cars.
46%.
Yeah, 46%.
That's wild.
Yeah, that is a significant number.
Like, are we seeing, like, the beginning of the end of the EV craze?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but it definitely raises some questions.
Yeah, for sure.
And to kind of understand what might be driving this potential U-turn,
Yeah.
they break down these like 6 reasons why EV owners might be getting cold feet.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so reason number 6 is charging anxiety.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It is, yeah, it's a big one.
I've heard a lot about that.
You know, the video really emphasizes like the lack of charging infrastructure being like a major deal breaker for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially if you don't live in California or, like, somewhere in China, right?
Exactly. They basically paint this picture of EV drivers being constantly stressed out,
Right?
like worried about running out of juice and being stranded with like a dead battery.
Yeah, especially, like, if you're on a road trip or something.
Totally. And you know, that anxiety is understandable to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing charging stations popping up everywhere now. Yeah, that's true. You are seeing more and more charging stations.
So is this anxiety like really justified?
Well, you know, it's not quite as simple as just counting the number of chargers.
Okay.
The video makes a valid point about, like, the uneven distribution of charging infrastructure.
Right.
You know, like you said, California, parts of China, they're pretty well equipped,
Yeah,
but many other regions are lagging behind,
for sure.
especially when you get away from, like, major cities and highways.
So it's like if you're on a road trip
Yeah,
and you venture off the beaten path a little,
exactly.
yeah, you might be in trouble.
You could be, and, you know, even in areas where there are charging stations,
Yeah.
the availability and reliability
Yeah.
of public chargers can be a bit inconsistent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that unpredictability can definitely fuel anxiety,
Yeah.
especially for those longer trips.
Especially because you don't want to be stuck somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's the issue of those charging failures.
Oh, yeah. The video mentions a study from Berkeley that found a 20% charging failure rate in California.
Yeah, that's pretty alarming.
That's crazy. Like 1 in 5 times you pull up to a charger
Right.
and it just doesn't work.
Unfortunately. Yeah, that can happen, and it's not just an inconvenience.
No.
It can really mess up your plans,
Yeah, totally.
especially if you're relying on that charger to get to your destination.
Like, what's causing these failures? Is it like a problem with the chargers themselves, or is there something else going on?
Well, it's often a mix of factors.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it's a simple software glitch
Right.
or a network outage.
Like the internet's down or something.
Yeah, exactly. But other times it can be more complicated,
Like what?
like issues with the charger's communication with the car,
Ah.
payment system malfunctions,
Okay.
or even vandalism.
Oh, wow. People are messing with the charger.
Unfortunately, it does happen.
Wow.
And the Berkeley study actually dug a bit deeper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they found that fast chargers. Okay.
You know the ones that are really important for road trips?
Right.
They actually had a higher failure rate than the slower level 2 chargers.
Oh, that's not good.
No, not ideal. And it really highlights the need for not just expanding the charging network,
Mm-hmm.
but also making sure that it's reliable
Yeah,
and easy to use.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about how many chargers there are.
Right.
It's about making sure they actually work.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So charging anxiety,
Yeah.
it's real.
It's a valid concern.
Okay, what's the next reason?
All right. So reason number 5 is all about the money.
Okay.
Operating costs.
Right.
Now, we've all heard that EVs are supposed to be cheaper to run.
Yeah, less maintenance and all that.
Exactly.
Huh.
But the video makes the argument that it's not always the case.
Really?
Yeah, especially if you're relying on those public charging stations.
Okay.
They claim that public charging can actually be more expensive than just filling up your tank with gas.
Yeah, it can be, and there are a few reasons for this.
Right.
First off, DC fast chargers,
Mm-hmm.
which, you need those for road trips.
Right.
They often have higher per kilowatt hour rates
Okay.
than slower chargers or charging at home.
So it's more expensive per unit of electricity.
Exactly.
Got it.
And then you have those charging fees.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about those.
Some networks just tack on these extra fees.
It's like those hidden fees on airline tickets.
Yeah, kind of. And on top of all that, electricity prices,
Right.
they go up and down just like gas prices.
Yeah, that's true.
So depending on where you live and when you charge,
Yeah.
you might end up paying a premium.
Okay, so you're saying sometimes it's actually cheaper to fill up with gas.
It can be, yeah, particularly if you're doing a lot of long-distance driving and relying on those public fast chargers.
But even if public charging costs more,
Yeah,
doesn't the lack of maintenance on an EV make up for it?
that's a great point, and you're right.
Right.
EVs generally have lower maintenance costs over their lifetime. No oil changes, spark plugs.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can definitely help offset some of the higher charging costs.
Okay, so it's not as simple as just comparing the price at the pump.
Exactly. It's more nuanced than that.
Got it. So you got to consider the whole picture.
You really do.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
What's next?
Okay, so the video's reason number 4 is all about real-world range.
Okay, range anxiety.
Yeah, range anxiety. We've
Yeah.
all heard about that too.
That's a big one.
It is. And you know the video, they call out those flashy manufacturer claims?
Oh, yeah, like 300 miles on a single charge.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, don't believe the hype.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they point out that things like temperature, speed hills, all that
Yeah, driving habits.
can really affect how far you can actually go.
Absolutely.
And, I've even heard stories about people's EV range just tanking in cold weather.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
So how much truth is there to all this? Well, it's true that those advertised range figures, they're often achieved under ideal conditions.
So like perfect weather,
Yeah, perfect weather.
driving slowly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not using any accessories.
Okay, so basically like in a lab.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like those fuel economy stickers you see on gas cars.
Yeah, those are never accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And in the real world,
Yeah.
a lot of different factors can impact your range.
So what are some of the big ones?
Well, cold weather is a big one
Okay.
because it affects how well the battery performs.
Right, like if you leave your phone out in the cold
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't last as long.
and then driving at high speeds or like accelerating and braking a lot.
Yeah, those can eat up a lot of energy.
Okay.
And even things like running the heater or the AC
Right.
can make a difference.
So are you saying that those advertised ranges are kind of like aspirational goals?
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it.
Like it's the best case scenario.
Exactly. And it's crucial to understand that your actual real-world range can be significantly lower
Okay.
than those ideal numbers.
Right.
But the good news is that newer EVs are getting better at providing more accurate range estimate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they take into account things like driving conditions
Oh, wow.
and even your planned route.
So they're getting smarter.
They are. And plus, battery technology is constantly improving.
Right.
And advancements in energy density are leading to longer ranges.
That's good to know.
It is.
Okay, so range anxiety is real,
Yeah, to some extent.
but it's getting better.
It is getting better.
All right, let's move on to the next reason.
All right, so this one's about the cars themselves.
Okay.
Reason number 3 is reliability issues.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and the video, they're basically challenging this whole idea that EVs,
Right.
with their fewer moving parts,
Yeah.
are inherently more reliable.
Right, because they're simpler.
Exactly.
Right.
But they cite studies claiming that EVs are actually more prone to problems. Really?
Yeah, and they point to things like software glitches,
Oh, yeah.
battery issues,
Okay.
and build quality concerns.
So they're saying that EVs aren't as reliable as we thought.
Well, it's more complicated than that.
Okay.
While it's true that EVs have fewer moving parts than gas cars,
Yeah.
they introduce a whole new set of complexities,
Okay.
particularly with the software and battery systems.
So it's like a different kind of complexity.
Exactly. And, early EVs,
Yeah.
they did have their fair share of reliability issues.
Right.
But it's important to remember that this is a relatively new technology.
Yeah, it's still evolving.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're seeing significant improvements with each new generation.
So it's like those early smartphones
Exactly.
that were glitchy and prone to freezing.
Yeah, good analogy.
But as the technology matured,
Right.
they got much better.
Precisely.
Okay.
And as manufacturers get more experience
Yeah.
and refine their designs,
Mm-hmm.
we can expect EV reliability to keep improving.
So it's getting better. It is. And, it's important to remember that reliability is multifaceted. While EVs might experience certain issues, they also benefit from less frequent maintenance.
Right.
No more oil changes.
Yeah.
Spark plug replacements.
Or exhaust system repairs.
Exactly.
So it's a trade-off.
It is.
It's a different kind of reliability.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next? What other reason do they give?
This one's always a bit of a bummer to talk about.
No.
Yeah, it's depreciation.
Ugh, that word.
I know, right?
Okay, so reason number 2 is that EVs just lose their value faster
Yeah, they do tend to depreciate faster
than gas cars.
than their gas-powered counterparts, yeah.
And the video even calls out Tesla
Mm-hmm.
for offering all those big discounts.
Yeah, those can accelerate depreciation.
And that leaves owners feeling like they've taken a financial hit.
It can feel like that.
It's like buying a new computer.
Right.
The moment you open the box.
It's already worth less.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the nature of technology.
Is that just how it is with EVs?
Well, depreciation is a complex issue.
Yeah.
That affects all vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
But EVs have historically faced steeper depreciation curves.
Oh, so it's worse with EVs.
It has been. Yeah, and there are a few reasons for that.
Okay.
First, the rapid pace of technological advancement in the EV space
Okay.
means that older models can quickly feel outdated.
Right, because there's always something new coming out.
Exactly, new battery chemistries,
Right.
faster charging capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
improved software features.
Yeah, it's like you're always one iPhone behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another factor is government incentives and subsidies.
Right.
While these programs can make EVs more affordable up front,
Yeah.
they can also kind of inflate the initial price.
So you think you're getting a good deal.
Right.
But
yeah, and then when those incentives expire or are phased out.
it's like sticker shock.
Exactly.
So what can an EV buyer do to minimize this depreciation?
Well, research is key. It's crucial to look beyond the initial purchase price and investigate the depreciation trends
Okay.
for the specific models you're considering.
So some EVs hold their value better than others?
They do.
Got it.
And factors like the battery warranty length,
Okay.
brand reputation,
Mm-hmm.
and overall build quality
Right.
can play a role.
Okay, so you got to do your homework.
You do.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now we're at the final reason,
I bring it on.
the video's top reason,
Okay.
and it's a big one.
Let's hear it.
Environmental impact.
Okay.
They're saying that maybe the green halo around EVs
Right?
isn't as shiny as we thought.
Interesting.
They're pointing to the environmental costs of making EVs,
Mm-hmm.
especially mining stuff like lithium and cobalt for the batteries.
Right. Those are key ingredients in batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also point out that a lot of the world's electricity still comes from burning fossil fuels.
Yeah. So.
So are they right?
Yeah.
Are EVs not as clean as we've been led to believe?
Well, the environmental impact of EVs is definitely something we need to consider carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more nuanced than just saying there's zero emissions.
Okay.
We have to look at the entire life cycle of an EV,
Okay.
from mining the raw materials
Right.
to manufacturing to use,
Mm.
and then eventually disposal or recycling.
Right. Cradle to grave.
Exactly. And EV production,
Yeah.
especially battery manufacturing,
Right.
does have an environmental footprint.
Right.
Mining those minerals like lithium and cobalt
Yeah.
can have social and environmental consequences.
Yeah. If it's not done responsibly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those concerns about the dirty secrets of battery production,
Right.
they're not entirely unfounded.
Okay.
They're valid points that the industry needs to address,
Yeah.
and they are working on it.
Okay.
They're actively trying to reduce the environmental impact of battery production
Oh.
through things like responsible sourcing,
Okay.
closed-loop recycling,
Mm-hmm.
and developing more sustainable battery chemistries.
So better batteries.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when it comes to the electricity used to charge EVs,
Right.
the source matters.
So it's not just about driving an EV.
It's about how that EV is powered.
That's a good point.
Yeah, if you're charging your EV with electricity from a coal-fired power plant, you're not getting as much of an environmental benefit
Okay.
as you would if you were using renewable energy sources.
Like solar or wind.
Exactly.
So the electricity source matters.
It does.
And that's where the bigger picture comes in.
Absolutely.
So the transition to electric vehicles is just one piece of the puzzle
It is.
in addressing climate change.
Right.
We also need to clean up the electricity grid
We do.
and invest in renewable energy.
Absolutely. And promote energy efficiency.
Okay, so it's a whole system thing.
It's a systemic issue.
Wow, that was a lot.
It was.
That was really interesting, though.
I thought so.
This video definitely gave us a lot to think about.
For sure.
I mean, there's definitely trade-offs with both EVs and gas cars.
Yeah, there's no perfect solution.
Right. So what does all this mean for the average person who's trying to decide what kind of car to buy?
I think the key takeaway is that there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Okay.
It's about figuring out your own needs,
Right.
priorities, and values.
So, like, do you care more about the environment?
Yeah.
Or do you care more about, like, saving money?
Exactly.
And what about range anxiety?
That's a big one.
How much does that matter to you?
And charging convenience.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Those are all things to consider.
And I guess the technology is always changing, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they're always coming out with better batteries,
Yeah, better charging infrastructure.
more renewable energy sources.
And the landscape will continue to evolve.
So it's like you got to stay informed
You do?
to make the best decision for yourself and for the planet.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a great note to end on.
I think so.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
This was a good one.
It was.
And we'll see you guys next time.
See you later. Bye. Bye.